On October 20th, 2004, PBS, the public broadcasting service, announced that they had partnered with cable provider Comcast, along with two other titans of toddler TV, Sesame Workshop, producer of, Sesame Street, and Hit Entertainment, owner and distributor of several famous and long-running preschool series, to launch a 24-hour premium cable channel spin-off of PBS's popular preschool programming block, which would be titled PBS Kids Sprout. Effectively a replacement of PBS Kids' failed self-titled 24-hour channel that had preceded it, and it would launch on September 26th, 2005, along with a video-on-demand service to 16 million viewers, in stark contrast to its aforementioned predecessor, which only reached 9 million households. As its name would imply, its main programming largely consisted of reruns of PBS's preschool series, along with shows from Sesame Workshops and Hit Entertainment's libraries, and occasionally you'd see a toddler show acquired from elsewhere. Heck, they even managed to snatch the rights to the Wiggles from Playhouse Disney after a new hip preschool-oriented music group also consisting of 4 grown men came to town and stole their thunder, actually being signed with Disney's record label unlike the Wiggles. And coincidentally, Hit Entertainment was actually a former distributor for the Wiggles in the US. But back on topic, they also snatched the rights to Lazy Town from Nickelodeon after the series had been on hiatus for 4 years and had just kind of been airing in a rerun purgatory on Nick Jr.'s 24-hour channel. Both acquisitions you can tell they were incredibly proud of, since both shows would receive their own themed programming blocks, with them even bringing in the cast of both shows to film new wraparound segments and make guest appearances on their pre-existing live morning block, The Sunny Side Up Show. It's almost kind of surreal that there was one point in time where you could see all of these shows airing on the same channel. Also, unlike most channels, when it came to short form series, instead of repackaging them to conform to a traditional 30-minute time slot, Sprout would just air them as they were, which helped give the channel a nice variety. They even had a spin-off Saturday morning block on NBC called NBC Kids. But if this channel was so good and successful, then why does it no longer exist? And the answer to that is corporate buyouts. Apex Partners sold Hit Entertainment to Mattel in 2011, but kept its stake in Sprout. In 2012, Sesame Workshop would sell its stake to Comcast, and Apex and PBS would follow them in 2013, meaning that all PBS branding would have to be dropped from the channel, officially changing its name from PBS Kids Sprout to simply Sprout, and all PBS, Hit Entertainment, and Sesame Workshop shows would slowly be phased out, with the channel focusing more on producing new programming and exclusive acquisitions to better compete with Nick Jr. and Disney Jr. Now, I didn't get Sprout full-time until sometime in 2014, when I was already out of its target demographic, and it was already fully owned by Comcast. Beforehand, my only exposure to the channel was on vacation, when the TV there would just so happen to have it. But whenever I did see it, all I thought was, I really wish we got that channel. So to finally get it, albeit at a point when I really shouldn't have cared about it anymore, and to see it slowly be completely stripped of its identity and everything that made it special, with the memorable blocks also being slowly phased out, was still pretty sad. By the end of its lifespan, the only PBS shows left were Caillou and the Berenstain Bears. And it honestly seemed pretty fitting that they would solidify this change when in 2017 they would rebrand the channel as Universal Kids. Oh yeah, Comcast had also acquired Universal in 2013, forgot to mention that. They expanded their audience by having the preschool content last from 3 AM to 6 PM, and having shows for big kids start at 6 PM, which is really stupid in my opinion. Both Nick and Disney have always ended their preschool blocks around 2 PM on weekdays. You know, around the time most kids get out of school. not the 6 p.m. BS. But in spite of that, on paper, this sounded like it could be a good way to refocus the channel. I thought maybe they would utilize Universal's pretty extensive back catalog of children's programming. But no, the channel just felt even more directionless. None of the new originals or acquired programs interested me, and even if they did, they didn't start until 6 p.m. Why in the world would I wait 3 hours after getting home from school to watch your channel when I've already probably been watching Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network or Disney or Netflix or Hulu or YouTube for those 3 hours? And speaking of streaming, the stupidest part is that the few shows they actually did bring in from their back catalog were DreamWorks' Netflix originals, because NBC Universal bought DreamWorks in 2016. Why? In this age where cable TV was and still is dying, and streaming was and still is your biggest competitor, why would you try to compete by airing shows that are supposed to be streaming exclusive, and that I've already been able to watch whenever I want to on Netflix for a while now? And yeah, it failed to catch on. Partially because cable TV was already dying at that point and it's a premium cable channel, and also because it just kind of sucked. With massive ratings declines in 2017 and 2018, and they even ceased development on all original programming in 2019, laying off its staff, with many of its already running originals moving to Peacock, which is a streaming service that nobody watches. I would be genuinely shocked if it still exists in the next 5 years, though I could say the same about all the premium kids cable channels, and also Cartoon Network, unfortunately, and would probably give Nick and Disney Channel another 10 years at most, unless the overabundance of streaming services ends up causing people to run back to cable. It's sad to see these brands that made such a big impact on us slowly fade away, but just because of that, it doesn't mean we can't still look back on the memories they gave us. And so I've decided that I will be reviewing some of Sprout's original and exclusive acquired shows, specifically from its PBS Kids Sprout era of 2005 to 2013. I didn't want to do a tier list since I figured these obscure shows deserved a bit more spotlight than that. Yeah, that's what this incredibly long-winded introduction was leading to. Without further ado, Sprout's first long-form original series.
We're traveling around in your neighborhood.
Noodle Doodle is a live-action show hosted by Sean Roach, who was a regular host on Sprout's aforementioned Sunny Side Up show. In each episode, he gets notified by some monotone children about a special occasion going on in their lives, and so rides his Noodle Doodle bus over there to help come up with a recipe and craft to honor that occasion, and then runs back onto that bus to cook that recipe with help from his weird Muppet creature's sidekick, Noodle McNoodle, and they awkwardly clean up using Wiggle Time. Then at the end, the kids will hop on the bus and make the crafts with Sean. Both with the recipes and the crafts, they give you a step-by-step, clearly to encourage the kids watching to try it at home. If you're wondering where the Doodle part comes in, Doodle is the tablet of sorts that Sean uses to devise his plans and spy on the kids while they present what he helped them make to their family at the end. Why half of the show's name is barely a character, I don't know. The show also gets interrupted around halfway through by an animated segment called Doggities, taking place inside the imagination of Sean's beagle, Doggity, which has gotta be one of the worst names I've ever heard for a dog. In his imagination, he's a chef and runs a restaurant that always runs into a problem related to the main live-action segment, and so him and his crew all work together to cook something that'll solve said problem. His crew consists of the poodle waitress Deedle D, another terrible name, Mac, a pessimistic bulldog who is always making messes,
I'll get them up again,
and Tony, a pug with an inexplicable sailor motif who is also a pathological liar. In the episode I watched, he insists he remembers stuff from when he was a baby, even though that's scientifically impossible. Maybe it works differently for cartoon dogs. I don't know. Though I just realized I'm criticizing the logic of a dog's dream in a show meant for toddlers. And of course, the meal was always just what they needed to solve the problem. That's doggone good. This reminds me a lot of something that Disney Jr. would air between commercials. The voice acting and music aren't half bad, but boy's the flash animation rough. Get it? As for the actual main segments, Sean does a good job talking to the child audience in a way that is on their level without being patronizing, which is exactly what you want from a kids TV host. Noodle is pretty well designed, even if I don't know what the heck she is, and her personality is almost non-existent. And in general, the show's color palette is nice and vibrant without being too flashy. And the show does have a nice laid back feel, with it probably getting some kids interested in cooking and crafting. So yeah, Noodle and Doodle wasn't half bad. What's next?
Look who's ready for you.
The Pajanimals is a show about 4 anthro animal puppet children who get a bit quirky at night. They make up the titular Pajanimals, something that they actually refer to themselves as in the show, along with their unseen parents. Yeah, these 4 all appear to be siblings. What could their parents be? Maybe they were all adopted. The show started off as a series of 3-minute shorts co-produced by 4 kids, apparently, before being spun off into full-length 11-minute episodes. Pajanimals is a clever combination of pajama and animal. Genius! Each episode takes place as they're about to go to bed, which triggers some weird ritual. But one of the Pajanimals has a problem that prevents them from sleeping. So the Pajanimals have to use another incantation to fly off to a faraway land where they meet a colorful character that helps them with their problems so they can sleep easy. The Pajanimals are perfectly gender balanced. 2 guys, 2 girls. They consist of a green dog named Apollo, obsessed with space rockets. Get it? Sweet Pea Sue, an orange horse with a southern accent apparently. Cowbella, a cow, obviously. And she's a girly girl. And my favorite as a youngin', Squacky, a blue duck who in the episode I watched finds out he's scared of the dark after hiding in the closet during a game of hide and seek. So they visit the moon, who unlike in Bear in the Big Blue House is a dude with some glasses and a blue sleeping cap, who tells Squacky that he doesn't have to be afraid because he'll always be watching over him. And despite already putting them to bed, the Pajanimals' mother is always able to sing them the same lullaby, coincidentally right as their journey ends. A song that they would play on Sprout every single night, accompanied by some clips of characters from their shows sleeping. You know, I couldn't help but notice that Squacky's voice sounds a little bit familiar.
I'm okay. Camping outside in the dark is gonna be awesome. No!
Yeah, he shares a voice with Gerald from Sid the Science Kid. Probably because they're both Jim Henson Company productions. Which does mean that we get some pretty nice production design, but something about these puppets looks a little bit off. Despite the show's overly cutesy theme song, it's really creepy. I think it's the eyes. There's something very mechanical, almost animatronic about them. Yeah, someone should seriously make a Five Nights at Freddy's style game out of this show. I mean, 4 freaky looking anthro animal characters at night. And wait a minute, Jim Henson's Creature Shop made the animatronics for the FNAF movie. It's perfect. Speaking of FNAF...
If you've come looking for some fun.
Yeah, I bet you didn't realize they gave Chica from FNAF her own show, and on a preschool channel for some reason. I guess she really is just that much of a fan favorite.
I dated a chick named Chica in high school. Oh, she had a big butt. I should give her a call.
Nah, I'm just kidding. It's a spin-off of Sprout's Sunny Side Up show, which I've mentioned a couple times before now. But basically it was their morning block, which had live host segments between commercials featuring a chicken puppet mascot creatively named Chica. This show is about her. She can't actually talk outside of squeaking. The video I found definitely was not a full episode despite claiming to be, but I'm not about to pay for it, nor am I going to give my information to a sketchy virus-ridden website to potentially watch an actual full episode. Like the previous two shows, each episode follows a very basic plot formula. Chica, one of the Sunny Side Up show's over-enthusiastic female hosts, Kelly, and Chica's parents, I guess, Mr. and Mrs. C, run a costume shop called the Costume Coop with an obvious barn motif. And in each episode, Chica needs to learn a lesson that she can only learn after the shop closes and the parents sing a song about it, and they can enter the animated world. Again, limited, overly cutesy flash animation with a ragdoll and a bunny. You know, Sprout actually didn't have that many original shows early on in its lifespan. So from here on out, I'll be looking at some of their acquired shows, but only the ones that hadn't aired elsewhere in the US before, as chosen by a wheel randomizer. What's first up?
Come on outside.
Yep, I'm not watching that. I don't want to give myself horrific nightmares. Try again.
Come sit down and listen.
The Mighty Jungle is a Canadian puppet show about these two best friends, a smart, brave yellow meerkat named Babu, and a dopey, neurotic purple gorilla named Bruce, who live in, well, the Mighty Jungle. The stories are made up and told by monotone children shown in live-action footage, which means that any plot holes can be excused. Episode 1, and we're already seeing aliens crash land in the jungle and the animals being taken away to an alien planet. It's actually a pretty solid kids puppet show. The whole gimmick of the stories being told by kids is a pretty interesting one. The puppets are cute and endearing without necessarily conforming to a generic Muppet design, and the puppeteers also give good performances. There was a catchy song in there. The two leads are able to have distinct personalities and a fun dynamic while still having a nice sense of camaraderie with each other. The plot was surprisingly bookended pretty well, and another thing that makes the show stand out is its production design. Again, very colorful, but it's also got a cool pop-up book aesthetic to it that distinguishes it from the previous shows. Besides the main set and the puppets, pretty much everything is what looks like kid doodles drawn on cardboard. A pretty good note to end this video on. Yep, this is only part 1. If this video gets a good response, I'll probably make a part 2. I am the Cartoon Koala, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.